Welcome to another episode of my Motortown playthrough. Today we are finally going to do it. Trash collection in Ara. Let's jump into the truck and let's get going. We actually got some trash right here, so let's pick it up. Actually on the 5th of June it's World Environment Day, so I'm gonna try and upload that for that. I think it's gonna be a pretty fitting date for that. There might also be a special TWL event coming up for that whole thing, if I remember. But yeah, if this is coming out on the 5th of June and you're watching it on that day, happy World Environment Day. God, I'm so bad with these things, I'm sorry. I'm still also trying to recover from my cold, which I had for quite a while. Was actually quite a nasty one. I ended up getting some medication to loosen up the stuff that was stuck in my throat. Can't remember ever needing anything like that, but it's working. Getting more air now, and that's hopefully soon to be the end of it. Honestly, I've been planning on making this episode for quite a while, and it's always kinda gone wrong. I either tried it when I was tired and didn't really know how to fill the entire episode with stuff to talk about, or I was just really not in the right mindset and had a bad mood that day, or whatever. And then I got sick for a few weeks, and anyways, we are finally getting here, so let's keep at it. Let's just fill up the truck and then go from there. There's gonna be a bit of a twist with this episode, but I won't reveal it until we get to that point. This is not just gonna be me gathering the trash and driving the truck over to the landfill in order to get rid of all the stuff. There's gonna be a bit extra here. Always like to keep it fresh and not just repeat ideas. Also, I upgrade my truck a little bit with some extra lights. So we now have some siren lights going off once we turn on the emergency lights here. The truck has no siren ability, so I had to map it to that, meaning that I think the sirens are doing about 2/3, 3/4 of a rotation and then turning off again, but it's kind of a nice effect on its own. So not really what I intended, but I think it's working out pretty well. And given that these trash trucks shouldn't really have sirens, I think it's a pretty good compromise here. Looks pretty nice, and with how I sometimes park trying to get close to the trash bags, yeah, it definitely works out. Speaking of TWL events, since I was talking about the World Environment Day a bit earlier, I also have tried coming up with a bit of an initiative in order to get more TWL events going. Especially now that we got the option to turn off the traffic, and I also fixed my controller issues, which made me a bit more competitive generally, and yeah, I just want to get events going a bit more often. Usually with how it turns out with TWL events, we can potentially do one every Sunday, but quite a few times we just didn't have an event ready and therefore nothing was done on the Sunday. So I decided to come up with this little initiative, which it's not really a flattering name, but basically they are filler events. Just an event where I pick out any type of event theme, then pick out the cars for that, get some fitting tracks, get some lap times to know how many laps we should be doing for the event, and that's basically gonna be it. I set up a thread on the TWL server where I can just note down all the event ideas that I have, work them out until we have something that we can host, and then once it's hosted, it's just gonna get deleted again. So yeah, we now have a few pre-prepared things just weeks in advance, and if anybody comes up with something else which is a bit more original, then that can also be done, and usually with higher priority. But if we just have weeks where we would otherwise not have any racing going on, I'm just gonna be putting forward one of my ideas, and that's how we're gonna do it from now on. Actually had 2 events of that kind already happening. I just need to make the post-race commentary for that. Couldn't really do that because of my cold, but now that it's better, I should be able to give you guys something on that topic. So yeah, expect more TWL events to come. If you want to join, go to the TWL Discord, and yeah, the events are going to be posted in the events announcement channel, and from there you should be able to just sign up or just show up with the correct vehicle, and then we are gonna get everything going on the certain date and time. Then the dates and times are usually the same, and they are always gonna be in the event channel, so yeah, with time zones I don't think there's too much I can really tell you guys about that. They got the whole Unis code going on, so it's easy to convert. Basically, Discord does that automatically for everybody. But yeah, I can tell you guys that it's gonna be on European Sunday evening, and usually also Sunday 4 a.m. in the morning. That's one of the 2 time slots. But yeah, it's best to just see for yourself. It would always be nice to have a few more racers coming out and populate the field a bit more. But yeah, overall I've been happy with how the stuff has been going. Chessbot, who is our main event host, is also happy that we are just getting the stuff done a bit more regularly, because he has been busy with stuff IRL and can't always be there to come up with something. And I know for a fact from my own experience, trying to make something a bit more elaborate can take up to weeks even. Especially if you are making events that require their own tracks and stuff like that. But yeah, now we have the track database, which it has been getting filled up quite nicely over the past few weeks and months. And with all the vehicle performance brackets and everything, we have definitely a lot going on right now that we can just pull from real quick, make a nice little combination, and get stuff hosted without too much of a hassle. And for me it's really been quite nice doing it in this workflow, because it allows me to just, when I'm in the mood, come out, prepare like 2, 3, 4, 5 events at a time, and then just not deal with that stuff for a month or something. Having to make one every week consistently is kinda tough. But yeah, there's still gonna be a bit more bespoke events at some point. Who knows what it will be, but for right now, I'm just happy to do racing a bit more consistently. That's always the thing that I've been pushing for. Also, if you're wondering when it comes to TWL and event hosting and everything, there's basically 3 different ranks for the entire thing. The top rank is event host. That's people like Chessbot who can directly set up the event server and everything. Chess also usually puts the tracks on event day and hosts the event in-game. Then there's also event planner who don't have any hosting rights, but that's people like me who can come up with events and get everything finalized so that we can figure out a date and time and then get everything on the road. There are actually quite a few of those event planners, but right now, I think at least when it comes to consistency, I'm the one who does the most, at least for the moment. Other people also host some stuff, but it's more like those bespoke events which take a long time. And I think it's good to have multiple of each. Having some people who can just make sure that when there's no event ready, there's still gonna be something that can happen. But also people who just make these really elaborate things that take a longer time. I just noticed that the truck is full. I could go for overfilling, but I don't really want to do that, so I'm gonna unload this stuff again. There's a lot of trash around Ara, especially with there being 2 trash bags at about every single property. In fact, there's enough to fill up multiple compacties with one go through the town. There might even be enough here for almost another one. We would need 20 pairs. I doubt we're gonna have that, but let's see. We got 4 right here. So that would be 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, so not quite enough. The reason why I'm only counting these ones is because I've basically already been to the other end of town and filled up another trash truck, and we are going to get back to that now. But this one also has a few additional lights which I didn't really show you guys. Maybe until we get to the landfill there's gonna be a bit more time, so maybe I can show you guys then if it gets a bit darker. But basically I have these additional area lights to really brighten up the surrounding area near the back. So in our towns it will be really helpful to get the backs visible. By the way, if I didn't mention it yet, the third rank for the whole racing thing is just anybody who comes into the discussion channel may also suggest an event theme. But that's then up to the planners to pick apart and choose whether or not it's a good idea to host. Usually it gets hosted because why not? But anyways, yeah, we got 2 of these trucks here, which is curious, and we are going to transport them to the landfill via the Lomax. So let me get this semi out. This thing is actually a copy of another semi that I have. It's a 6-speed version. The other one is the only semi-truck that I have that has a 13-speed transmission. Important for a select few jobs that can get really heavy, and yeah, if you have to take that uphill, you are better off using a 13-speed transmission. The 6-speed doesn't cut it quite anymore, so yeah. But I've always been wanting to have a 6-speed version of that as well, because I sometimes just want to drive the Atlas 6x4. Initially, I actually went with the 6x2 Atlas, so the one with the lift axle, as the 6-speed version. I never really liked it that much though. So I ended up just getting rid of that, buying a new one, and this is what we have here right now. And I think I'm much more happy with this one. It's nice that we have a semi-truck with a lift axle, but it's just not for me. Not everything has to be, so yeah. Someone is going to be really happy with 6x2 lift axle semi, but I'm just going to stick to either the 4x2 or the 6x4. I don't really need to own every single vehicle in the game. But yeah, let's get these trucks unloaded, and then we are off to, not the races, but at least the landfill. This is just a really extreme version of carpooling. This is gonna be a grand total of... What, did I not hit the handbrake? The handbrake is also very fickle in this game, comes loose all the time, so I don't know sometimes. Pretty sure I at least press it, but it might have unpressed itself. I wish it would just stay on if you are at low velocity. If you are at single digit kilometers per hour or miles per hour, whatever, it shouldn't really get loose again, because at that point you are most likely intending to stop. But I will have to see if stuff like that improves at some point. Okay, barely enough place to get the truck fully on here, but I won't be able to fully lift the ramps up. Just gonna get them off the ground, and that has to do here. Okay, let's go. Fully loaded, fully secured. Let's just drive over to the landfill. This is of course also going to give me a decent boost for my attempt at getting the 5k trash achievement. But yeah, I've been doing these kind of trips quite a few times off screen, so this is just the first time of me recording it. Another thing I wanted to talk about today, since this is actually the first time I'm recording this game after the little Terra video that I made. Jesus Christ, I really can't talk today. So yeah, I know the video has been doing amazingly well, which is kind of nice to see, but honestly, I didn't really make it to just boost my channel or anything. I just wanted to make it for the reasons that I talked about in that video. Just didn't sit right with me that somebody was making a paywall video on the whole thing. So I want to have something more publicly accessible out there. So yeah, don't expect any more of those leak videos from me. I actually even rolled back today to this version just to be able to play on this and record this video. There's actually also going to be a Hoki stream later down the line today, so that'd be a good reason to just stay on the live version for today. But yeah, there's only going to be more videos on the new content once it gets to the public testing. In the end, when it comes to this game, I see myself as many things, many roles that I'm trying to fill. Being a member of multiple communities, being a test driver, being also of course a content creator, because I am making these videos of course, as you can see right here. But the content creation thing is definitely not the highest priority for me, and I don't want that to be the case. Because I think that would be the start of me doing or making some suboptimal decisions, I would imagine. So yeah, one of my highest priorities is trying to make the game better, help get the development go along smoothly and that kind of thing. And I don't think making videos on unreleased content is really all that helpful, even if there isn't an NDA. But yeah, basically with how rapidly some of the stuff changes, there are some features where I would basically be making update videos on once or twice a week even, and that would be really hard to keep up with as a viewer, so I think it's better to just wait with the stuff until we get the things coming out of early testing. In the end, with the whole game still being in early access, it's never really fully finished. There's always chances that somebody will find a way to improve something and the dev will have to go back on that feature or vehicle or something. But I think once it finally comes out of the private testing, it should at least be in a state where it's somewhat stable. I feel like the vehicles in this game, when they come out in early testing, they have a lot of potential. They have a place in the game, but there is a whole larger outline around them on areas in which they could be going into, depending on decisions being made, some better, some worse potentially. And yeah, the further we go along, the more it narrows down to what the truck can eventually realistically be, but yeah, right now the stuff is just way too early to call, and doesn't feel too great making videos on things where you can really only say, hey, right now it's here, but who knows what's going to happen. So that's another reason why I don't want to keep on making those kind of videos. Trying to not drive like a jackass all the time, but man, I wish we got more AI improvements for the traffic here. Especially with how the last update came out, there are so many weird things happening with car spawning, especially around Northern Oatly. We're gonna potentially see some of it here. I hope that gets addressed in the future update. I can tell you at least that much, that currently on the testing for 0714, it's not really a priority. There isn't anything happening towards that end, as far as I can tell. But yeah, they have been dealing with the entire of what is it, 5.4 update for Unreal Engine. There's definitely new Unreal Engine update, might be 5.5. I'm really mixing up the numbers right now. They definitely skipped a version or two. So that's been a lot of work, and it definitely slowed down everything else. So it might take a while longer for the stuff to come out, might be a bit of a small update comparatively in terms of the overall features, who knows right now. They are still going to add more stuff from what I can tell looking at the Trello. And really the Trello is the most reliable resource here. But yeah, we're gonna have to see how that all shakes down towards the end. But yeah, the one thing I can tell you guys for certain is that when it's updated, it's going to be expensive. You can see that on my bank account in the top left. I used to be around 3 million, and those are gone. And I'm back to almost 1 million after a lot of work trying to get the money back up. Also buying other things in the meantime. It's quite a substantial update when it comes to spending opportunities, that's for sure. And yeah, I don't really care about the company vehicles right now. I'll likely have to reset some stuff when I go back to the testing version. I definitely always have to reset my settings, or more like back up my settings separately and then put the old ones from the live version back in when I roll back to the live version, which is also why I think the videos are likely going to slow down in a bit. Not only do I have quite a few ones made on the current update, and that stuff has been fun and all, but yeah, I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to burn you guys out on the whole thing. I think I got a good amount made where I can really show new stuff, do things differently and all that kind of thing, but I would rather have a bit of a break between episodes instead of trying to keep things going and just repeating the same thing over and over. That's not really my style. And with a series this long running, you're gonna keep stuff fresh if you can. Although in the end, it's always gonna be me rambling on one topic or the other while trying to do some weird stuff in this game. So the overall formula hasn't really evolved. But yeah, I think I got one more video that I want to make on this version, or more like, really there are 3 videos that I would like to do, but 2 of them right now cannot be done because of a weird bug with the game. So yeah, there's that. I had a rotator video planned and another one using the Dragon bus stuff, but doing it a bit differently than usual. Not necessarily more effectively, but in a fun way. But for both of these, there are right now a few little problems with the game that don't really allow me to achieve what I'm set out to do, and that kinda sucks a little bit. But hey, maybe with a next update, we'll have to see. But yeah, I definitely want to show you guys another plank to the coal mine run. I prepared another vehicle for it, and it's quite amazing. Most likely the easiest time we will have doing this kind of stuff. But I'll talk more about that in the next video where I show you guys everything. Because right now, with me being on this character and on this journey, it doesn't really make much sense getting in depth with it. Just, once again, expectation management. Don't expect it to be a money maker. It's more like getting a utility job done quite a bit more easily. Okay, coming around to the more difficult parts of Cliff Road. So far the traffic hasn't really gone crazy. Like sometimes you just get so many cars to spawn that it's just kilometer long traffic jam. Like I see a lot of stuff going on behind me, which might be the beginning of that kind of thing going on there. Then we're gonna have to see. I hope it's not gonna be crazy, because that will be a really bad thing for my FPS. I don't want the game to slow down the PC and have a negative effect on the recording or something. By the way, speaking of which, I recently lowered my screen resolution. So instead of 1440p, we now back down to 1080 for this game. It's just... the performance isn't too great for this game, all things considered. So I decided to rather lower the resolution a bit and hopefully have more fluent recording and all of that. Because I saw that getting choppy occasionally. Then, yeah, just keeping those issues in. To me at least, there isn't too much of a difference, so I hope that's gonna be okay. I think my recording software also upscales the stuff, so it should be alright. But it's not just running at native 2K anymore. Okay, trying to go with traffic flow, but it's really kind of difficult. On these flat sections I really need to accelerate, and when I'm running into other cars and all of that, they are going to have a really large advantage over me once we really hit the slope here. Now the other one is overtaking as well. But yeah, if I let them slow me down on my acceleration area, I'm just gonna be dying on the uphill momentarily. But yeah, it feels like we are getting into the whole traffic jam problem here. Yep, there's definitely a lot of cars in front of me. And weirdly enough, it always only happens on the northbound road. So I don't know what's going on here, but I might need to overtake some guys here to just get out of the area, because this might just be getting worse and worse otherwise. I don't know if this was even something reported during the private testing. There's definitely been quite a few reports made on different stuff, but this may have actually fallen through the cracks here. Who knows? But then again, I don't know every single bug report that comes out. But yeah, it's definitely been reported after, and I wish we got that fixed. It's just there's a lot going on, and with there apparently not being a set limit on how many cars can spawn, it can really slow your PC down and be causing some issues. But yeah, I'm just trying to pass as many as I can, get out of the area, and then we should hopefully be good, and hopefully some of these will just despawn. Because this is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm driving on 200% traffic, but still. I'm pretty sure I've seen this exact thing happening on 100% traffic, but it's just... I don't know what the trigger is. I tried making a bug report about this and really going in depth on when it occurs, but turns out if you just spawn in here, go through this area, you won't have any issues. There's gonna be another trigger that makes it happen. Maybe you need to be in the session for a certain amount of time. Maybe something else influences the whole thing. But it's not completely straightforward. It's not completely reliable that it will happen. And those bugs are a pain in the ass to identify. I know that they've been doing some stuff to buy young on the next update, potentially also to help with this kind of stuff. Ah, there's another guy on the middle lane here. Get out of my way, this is mine. Man, I must have messed him up here. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how well it works, how much else it needs to be done. I still wish we just got a few more AI improvements. I know there's been a card on the Trello about making them give way at intersections, and especially in cities. That could have been a lot better, because they get gridlocked way too quickly. But yeah, with some of the things, sadly they don't receive all the attention that they need in the end. But yeah, a small dev team, there's always gonna be some compromise. Anyways, we're just gonna get going, and hopefully getting out of this area will help me just get a few more frames back. Uh, 55 now, seems to be slowly climbing, which is nice. I hope this really only has an effect on the game and not the recording. Because I definitely felt that some other programs were running quite a bit worse when Motortown is happening, so yeah. Could definitely use a few more optimization updates, but it's not like they haven't been doing anything on that front. There's definitely been some work put in recent updates, but we're gonna have to see what they do in the future. I would definitely like to see a bit more. Because for all things considered, it should be running quite a bit better. But yeah, who knows what's going on under the hood. I would say that's a nice sundown, but it's actually also kinda blinding. So let's get a bit off to the side here. Hide behind the mountain so that we don't need to see directly into the sun. After all, we are not the president. So there are just some weird things that I can't get over. Might even just go into first person for a moment and enjoy the view. While it's slowly getting dark, or more like really quickly getting dark, or was it just the outdoor exposure? Which people have been understandably complaining about because it's just a stupid effect. But it's so baked in with how all the shading and light effects work in this game that it would be really tough to do anything about. The dev has already commented on it, and apparently it's not an easy fix. Oh, there was another car in front. I was a bit curious on why the guy didn't just go. But yeah, stuff like this, the dude should just be turning right and that should be the end of it. I should have maybe also looked left before going, but I mean, those little cars were hardly a speed bump for my semi. Going back into third person here. But yeah, all these areas, they are just nice looking. But yeah, it's getting quite a bit choppy now. I hope that we are out of the Baiyang area by now and there shouldn't be too much happening from that anymore. I don't know how the traffic despawning works in this game, and that's kind of worrying. I also got the feeling that recently the AI vehicles have definitely gotten a bit more complex with what they simulate when out of the area. So they might be keeping some stuff loaded that shouldn't be loaded in otherwise. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, we are back up to 60 FPS, but it's not completely stable. I might have to consider lowering a few other settings. There are a few areas in this game which are just naturally kinda laggy. But yeah, I don't wanna have to evacuate any area in panic of my game crashing for the PC load or anything. And yeah, this was me just jackknifing the whole thing. The road layouts here are quite crazy sometimes. Very squiggly, very twisty and all of that, but I like it. I know some people don't, but I think without this kind of stuff it's much more difficult to keep engaged. Like, I like me the highway section, at least in faster vehicles, but it wouldn't need to be any longer than that, and I definitely prefer these windy roads over having just straight highways from north to south in this area. It would be really hard to justify using anything else at that point, and I don't think those roads are inherently interesting. These ones are. You're always gonna be on your watch out for anything happening. Especially with a cliff to one side. And there's no rotator cable long enough to pull you out of the ocean from here. There are also some steep hills to be careful about. Trying to keep the momentum up so that I don't slow down too much and get stuck on them. But I think we should be about done here. The turn-off point towards the landfill should be right between this grassy green area and the mesa. Also, of course, we have the cement factory right there. Sometimes I'm not entirely sure if the jetpack is actually on. Would be kinda nice if we had a symbol for it instead of just the toggle thing. Oh, it's one of the minor things here. Anyways, we arrive at the cement factory just as it gets really dark here. So let's turn left and visit the landfill. While also almost tipping over that camper van there. Oops. Didn't really think that would be that aggressive, but yeah, sometimes I might misjudge the corner a little bit. We got a... Jesus. So I was trying to only turn a little, but I feel like the trailer pushed me over a little bit, and that's how that happened. So let's try and climb up this hill here now with damaged engine parts, which always nice to have. And let's just try to make the last few meters without any more incidents. That dude behind me is likely getting mighty pissed with me by now, especially after that little ramming maneuver. I should have maybe really tipped him over. Just to get him out of my hair. But here we are, the landfill. I also made my game quite a bit darker again. I usually run with 200% moonlight brightness for events, because seeing in the dark while racing is a bit advantageous, I learned. But for immersion, I like to go with as low as 70%. I don't know if this might actually be 100%, I'm not entirely sure. Played around with the stuff a little bit for different occasions, but yeah, overall this should be working. Okay, here we are at the final destination for all of our trash. And potentially also the trash trucks if I'm not too careful. I held the handbrake, you stupid thing. Stop. So here we go. I can also show you guys the full lighting feature on this thing. So we have front lights, we have those little top lights there. Also, of course, lighting up the loading compartment for better visibility. But I can also turn on the sirens if I need to stop somewhere in the middle of the road. Or more like if I decide to. There's no real reason to ever do that, but you know me. I'm lazy, I just stop wherever to get to the base real quick. And I can also turn on the interior light, which is linked to some of the rear lights, and I mean, I love the lighting system in this game. It's so amazing for things that you wouldn't even expect. So yeah, that's giving me a good area of visibility behind the back of the truck. Especially useful if you are in a dark area and need to find the trash bags. They can be really hard to locate. So let's just go for the unloading. Pulling the handbrake. Feel like I need to announce it with how unreliably it works. Just dumping out the 40 bags, and there we go, we got 80k plus 10k town bonus, so that's more than 10% bonus on top, which is really nice. Getting me back up over 1 million, which I definitely appreciate. So let's turn off the light show again. And get into the other truck. It's an identical one. Just for this kind of job I decided to buy a second one because I feel like this is a pretty good way of handling this. I don't know if I would be doing this job using the Atlas dump thingy magic. I feel like that's better for other jobs. So showing the lights on this one. I had an issue where one of the ones didn't have the front sirens working, so I just wanted to quickly check. What are these things even called? They're not really sirens, because sirens at least to my knowledge, are sound devices. These are more like... What's the proper term for this? I forgot. Beacons, I think. That might be the thing. Anyways, whatever they are really nice and looking pretty good. Don't do much in-game, don't seem to be stopping the traffic or anything, but I love having them on some vehicles, and this is gonna be the end for this episode. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. Until then, have a good one, and bye bye.